Hello, my name is Bob Barrett. My colleagues and I represent the Leagues of Women Voters of San Mateo County. I will be presenting the pros and cons for State Ballot Measure 14. Proposition 14 seeks to have the state of California sell additional bonds for the support of stem cell research. This is a citizen-proposed initiative. The current situation is this. In 2004, voters passed Proposition 71 to create the California Institute for Regenerative Medicine, CIRM. Proposition 71 amended the California Constitution and changed the Health and Safety Code. Prop 71 allowed the state to borrow $3 billion in bonds for the research. As of June 2020, almost all the funds have been spent, with most of the grants awarded to Stanford University and the University of California. The formation of the Institute allowed California to take on a role usually fulfilled by the US government. This was considered necessary because there was a federal ban on stem cell research with federal money. The CIRM is using general obligation funds, usually funds directed to brick and mortar projects such as bridges and hospitals. It is very unusual to have the public request a bond to fund scientific research and then have an independent entity, the Institute, channel state money to research institutions and scientists. There has been some controversy about the management of Institute funds and their grant procedures. Their board has revamped the processes. One independent analyst gave the opinion that CIRM would be collaborative and patient-centered and is now more efficient and effective. Grant recipients who license or sell their inventions are required to share a portion of the income with California. To date, these inventions have provided approximately $350,000 to the state. Here are the activities that would occur if Proposition 14 is approved. Briefly, stem cells have the unique ability to generate specialized cell types in the human body. Research has led to a greater understanding of how diseases in humans occur and how to generate new cells to replace diseased cells. Approval of Proposition 14 would continue to fund stem cell and other research to develop treatments and cures for serious diseases and conditions like diabetes, cancer, HIV/AIDS, heart disease, paralysis, blindness, kidney disease, and respiratory diseases. About $1.5 billion would be dedicated to research for Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, stroke, and epilepsy. In addition, medical training in related fields and building medical research facilities would be supported. Proposition 14 mandates that in addition to supporting research at California state universities, funds would be awarded to community colleges for training programs. It also establishes a fellowship program for graduate and postgraduate stem cell research programs. Proposition 14 sets limits on the bond funds that can be used for administrative purposes. Prop 14 also provides for the phased sale of bonds to a limit of $540 million annually. This spreads the sale of bonds over an 11-year period. Prop 14 would also focus on improving access to treatments and cures for underserved communities and caps the number of full-time CIRM employees. Here is the assessment of the Legislative Analyst's Office of the fiscal impact of Prop 14. It basically states the cost to the state of issuing the bonds. For $5.5 billion in general obligation bonds, the total cost to taxpayers, $7.8 billion, is the principal and interest paid by the state over a 25-year period. This would average about $260 million per year paid from the general fund. There is also the possibility of revenue for new inventions, but that is uncertain. There also could be indirect fiscal effects for some healthcare programs, such as Medi-Cal, but the net fiscal impact is unknown. Here are the arguments for and against Prop 14. Supporters say Prop 14 has led to significant advances in treatments and cures for many diseases. 92 clinical trials and 2,900 discoveries were made during past years. Continuing bonds for stem cell research is supported by 70 patient advocacy groups. The accountability and transparency of CIRM is increased. Prop 14 would contribute to the rebound of the California economy. Through 2018, the Institute-funded research projects have attracted over $3 billion in matching funds and created over 55,000 jobs. It has generated about $10.7 billion in economic stimulus and over $6 million in state and local tax revenue. New revenues and jobs will be generated by additional funding. Prop 14 will also increase patient access and affordable treatments and provide patients some financial assistance. Opponents say that other entities can do a better job on these research issues. For example, NIH, that's the National Institutes of Health, spends $1.5 billion annually on this type of research. Prop 71 was intended to be a temporary measure, and now that the federal government is providing funding, it is no longer necessary for California to fund this research. In addition, private companies and investors are also involved in funding stem cell research. Opponents also question CIRM transparency and effectiveness. Supporters have raised about $6.6 million. They include Californians for Stem Cell Research, Treatment, and Cures, Robert N. Klein II, a real estate investor and stem cell research advocate, is the largest donor, contributing $4.6 million. Dagmar Dolby, a private family foundation, contributed $2 million. Opponents have not listed any contributions at this time. Proposition 14, will you vote yes or no? A yes vote supports issuing $5.5 billion in general obligation bonds for the State Stem Cell Research Institute and making changes to the Institute's governance structure and programs. A no vote opposes issuing $5.5 billion in general obligation bonds for the State Stem Cell Research Institute.